Are sensitive knees keeping you from doing exercise that's on the floor or ground? I'm Janine from Win with Yoga, and I'm here to let you know it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Today, I'm going to give you some options for some very popular yoga and really any fitness classes include these too. Give you some really simple options so you can work around sensitive knees and groundwork. So the first thing is really simple. It's just add extra padding under your knees. So if you have one of those exercise mats, I do find that they're thicker, but if they're not dense, they kind of just like squish right down, and it can be really hard on the top of the shin bone here, often that we would say the knee or the kneecap itself. So you can simply get a denser yoga mat. You could put 2 yoga mats down on the ground, or you can even do a yoga mat and fold another yoga mat up. So this is kind of a half yoga mat, but I just fold it in half, and then I can place my knees up on top of it so you have a little more padding. You can have the ability then to even make it thicker for yourself depending upon your situation. And if you're saying, well, I don't have an extra yoga mat, well, there's things you can use around the house, like it's simply a towel. So fold that in half, or even in half again. This is just a hand towel. And then you can place that underneath your knees. And one thing I've found with this is that sometimes if it's the bones of the shin, like right underneath the kneecap, that drive down into the floor, just depending upon the shape of your bones or your body, then it does help to place this on those bones and let the kneecap kind of float. And then the kneecap doesn't even touch the floor. So if you're getting that pushing in, that's one way that you can do that and get around it. And these are great because they can be disappearing props. You can make them thicker, or you can make them thinner. And maybe or maybe not for you it will work, but I've worked with people for over 20 years, and I have seen people that this was just sensitive at the beginning because they were unfamiliar with being down on the ground. And then over time, you get used to it and you're able to start to remove some of these things. So just options, and just letting you know that that sometimes happens, that it's uncomfortable at the beginning, and then as you start to get used to it, you're able to move some of that out. But what I want to show you next is some of these really popular positions. So if you have your padding out, right, and you get your knees up on here, then you'll be able to be in this tabletop position, because this is one of the big ones we hear about. In this position, you'll often see cat and cow, which is rounding and then arching the spine. Child's pose is one you'll be able to amend with the padding under the knees. And then also this one, which I call bird dog, where one leg goes back and one arm comes forward so that you have some padding there, right? Now, if this doesn't work, I'm going to show you how to do all of those 3 positions without being on your knees at all. So modification 1, add extra padding, really simple. Probably have some more stuff around the house. You can even use one of those gardening pads. That's a great one. Then if that doesn't work for you at all, if you can't be on your knees, and I know that's the case for some people, then you can just take this down onto your back and simply do child's pose. So we call this position egg, but this is basically the same shape. So you can get the benefits here. You can rock around, you can hug this in, you can do the knees wide, but now there's no pressure on the knees. So you can still benefit from that. The cat and cow position, where I was arching and rounding my spine, you can simply do that on the floor too. Place the feet on the ground. For that arching part, the cow part, you can reach up and you'll see this big space underneath my ribs and belly. And then you can curl it and round it up. You can even put your hands behind your head to give you support. And then breathe in and arch. And then round and curl. You could do it seated as well. Up and then rounding. So you can still get that nice movement in the spine, but you can take the knees out of it. And then the last one is that bird dog one, which is really generally used as a core exercise. And just flip your table over. So now my back is on the floor. The knees have no pressure on them. And when one leg and one arm go out, you just simply mimic that movement and bring it back up. And then you could do the other way. and bring it back up. So you're going to get this core strengthening just like you were the other way, but now your knees aren't being pushed into the floor. And the only thing I would add on this is you just want to make sure as you do these that your back, see how my hand's coming through, your back isn't arching away from the floor. So you want to keep those abs engaged and keep the back down and only lower that leg as far as it can go and this arm as far as it can go, keeping this nice and secure into the ground. All right, so there you go. Some really, really simple ways to modify some very popular positions so that your knees don't take the brunt of it and you can continue to be on the floor and engage in your class. So if this resonates with you, make sure to like this video, and if you're ready to give it a go for yourself, grab my 5-day fitness and flexibility fix for women over 50. It's totally free, and you can get it at fitandflexibleforlife.com/fix. I'll leave that link for you in the description. Look forward to seeing you inside.